Got the moment of silence today. Oh, no, 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 no. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Madam Mayor, it is 6:06 and we are live.
Good evening. Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday, July 28th, 2026 regular City Commission meeting of Lake Worth Beach. May I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Betty Rush,
Here.
Vice Mayor Mimi May,
Present.
Commissioner Sarah Maliga,
Present.
Commissioner Christopher McVoy,
Here.
It's been a long week and it's only been-
Commissioner Anthony Segrich.
Present.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Segrich will lead us in a moment of silence or something, and Commissioner McVoy will lead the pledge.
Just wanted to take a moment to reflect on the things that make us a community versus the things that we disagree about. As we go through this journey together, you know, we make a lot of tough decisions and we may not always agree, but we should always come together as a community and work towards the betterment of our city. Thank you.
Are there any additions, deletions, or reordering? Ms. Malega.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I would like to ask my fellow colleagues for permission to read aloud a poem written by our own Miss Cindy Ansell to Chris Hanna.
Yeah.
I had asked for permission and she said yes, and I just wanted to see if I could get consensus to do that tonight.
When you
So-
your comments or before
No,
that?
before,
Okay.
like before the presentations.
Any problems with that, anybody?
No.
Okay.
I did respond to her and tell her, yes, she could let him know that I was going to read it, but it was more for, I just thought that it was sweet and kind and
Mhm.
it kind of put Chris, I mean, we can redo it again on August 4th, or if you want me to wait till then to have him here. Do it on August 4th.
Yeah, he's gonna be here. Do it twice. What the heck?
Do it twice.
Yeah, how
Okay.
long does it take? It's not an epic. It's not the Odyssey. It is epic.
Yeah. So I just want a consensus to do that.
Okay, and then I have news that Miss Baker is not feeling very well. So she's not going to give the water utility update, but she will be available for when we have items that do touch on the water utility.
So do we want to move her items up
Yes.
so
we
that
do.
she can log off
We'd
and
love to do that.
rest? Would that work for you, Ms. Baker?
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, and which ones are?
She is,
So the
Thank
only item that would need to be moved off of, everything else is on consent, new business item B. If we wanted to reorder that to immediately follow the consent agenda.
That's the change order one, new business B, yeah.
Yes, that's the only item that's not a consent item that she has this evening.
So why don't we just do that? Yeah, before we do the.
well,
release.
Storm Fund is her too, isn't it?
No.
No, that's the
That's
rate. Oh,
electric.
Storm Fund rates of, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's electric.
Yeah,
Alright,
yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll do it after the consent agenda. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You want me to read before the utility updates or after?
Well, let's do it before we get started and then we're.
Okay.
But you'll do it again on the 4th when he's here. Double poetry.
Motion to approve as amended.
Thank you. Do I-
Second.
Thank you very much.
Jinx.
All in favor, didn't even have to ask all in favor.
Aye.
so
Aye.
Aye.
tonight. Okay. Okay. So. Ma'am, why don't you, Ms. Milligan, then why don't you read the poem now?
Okay.
And then we'll do the updates.
So this was written from our own Cindy Ansell, the librarian, to Chris Hanna. And I believe that he's our parks supervisor, is his title. And it's printed on this really cute paper. Thank you, Shona, for doing that. My kindness call goes to our colleague, Chris Hanna. In the library's book, he's the top banana. When I ask him for help, he always says yes and works hard to make our events a success. My partner in all of the management trainings, his insights right on, his stories entertaining.
Uh-oh.
Chris keeps the lights on in Lake Worth Parks. Without him, our players would be in the dark. Clean and green is his motto for playground and spaces. His efforts put smiles on the residents' faces. Playground equipment and pickleball courts. There's bathrooms and snack bars and fences galore. Let's give 3 cheers for Chris and a loud proclamation. Just listing his job makes me want a vacation. So take a break. Chris. Relax, put up your feet. After all, this is Leisure Services Meetup.
Very nice. And listen, Cindy is a remarkable person, and we are so sad that she's leaving, but happy for her in her life that she's got a new chapter.
And the story behind that's kind of cool, if you
is very
know,
cool.
like that they got
The house.
the employees, if somebody did something above and beyond for you, you kind of give them a little something and honor them in some way. And that was the way she honored him. And I
Oh,
thought that
love
was
it.
great.
And he's great.
This doesn't work either.
Okay. Thank you. So
Thank
we
you.
try to indulge everyone. Okay, so now we have the electric utility.
No, water utility.
Well, we're not having a water utility update. We just said, pay attention, Mr. McCoy.
Oh, we're not doing
No, she's not well. So she's not going to give an update, but she's going to just stay for her one item.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
You didn't, you weren't paying attention.
Well, I do
You're
the
just-
moving of the item.
just-
I thought,
Just
okay,
not paying
whatever, yeah.
attention. So we're going to be to the electric utility, to Mr. Liberty and his amazing iguana.
Yes.
They
There's a story to
Oh,
that.
you know?
So good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. For the record, Ed Liberty with the Electric Utility. Thank you, first of all, for the Mayor and Vice Mayor for attending the FMEA annual meeting.
It's an honor.
And the attending portion of the conference and being there for the change of command ball or watch or
The passing of the torch.
passing of the torch. And we'll get to that in a few minutes. So this was one of the items that during the annual awards, they presented me with. It's an iguana. And I've suggested that we add a little can of McCormick's curry and Old Bay as a suggestion.
Meat tenderizer.
For what might be coming. We'll come back to that in a second. First of all, I want to go ahead and recognize some important people, some things that have taken place since we last met. The first one of which is that one of our members of our current apprentice class has graduated to full-blown lineman.
Right.
He happens to be here
Excellent.
today. Peter Vigiani in the back.
Mr.
Yellow shirt.
Vigiani. Welcome aboard to the best electric company in Florida.
And he's helping us get there. So I'll point out that I believe he actually started in the garage, then went to the water department, and then when the apprentice program opened up, he joined us on the electric side.
That's
So we're
fabulous.
glad to have him aboard.
That's really wonderful. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
The rest continue to progress the ranks. One of them, of course, is recovering from his injuries.
How
And
is he
He
doing?
continues to improve. I can't get into
Yeah.
personal medical
course not.
information here, wherever actually, but he is home and he
Okay.
continues to improve. The crews keep up with him. Management keeps up with him.
Please send him.
We're
our
looking forward to
regards.
having him back and resuming in the program.
All right, great. Thank you.
Next thing I'd like to do, I'm not a union official, but I do want to recognize that we have 3 individuals that were elected by their peers to lead the local shop. And I'll announce who they are, 2 of which are here today. Peter Vigiani, who just made lineman. He's been elected chief union steward, is my understanding.
Mhm.
Rain Espana, he's been elected the electric shop steward. And I don't believe James is here, but James Farina was elected the water shop steward. So congratulations to them.
Congratulations.
So we'll look forward to working with the new leadership of our newly established group. They were recertified.
Mhm.
They're now Union Local 728 under the IBEW and have a strong membership, I understand. So we've started negotiations with them, which you're aware of, and
They'll be reasonable.
we're
Right.
I think we've done a lot of work to build a relationship, and we look forward to a mutually agreeable negotiation.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Welcome. Congratulations.
At a high level, we'll talk about how we're doing on system performance. Interesting, in July, I think Vice Mayor was saying, why is it so hot? My electric bills are very hot. So July was 5% above in terms of electric sales so far. We've got a couple more days here to go. but we're running a little over 5%,
It's
actually 5.76%, higher than last year. But degree days are up over 9% year over year.
Jeez.
So just for the month of July, July is running 9+% hotter than the prior July. Year to date, our electric sales continue to run well above our plan. They're running at 3.5+%, and no sign of abatement. So again, we plan around 0.75% growth when we do our rate setting. So this is going to show up as greater revenues, greater margin growth, and greater fund growth because our sales are running ahead of plan. Degree days for the year are up a little over 5%. So over 9% just for the month of July, 5% year to date. So that's driving the growth. Of course, you always have to be prepared for the year when you don't grow. And we're not saying that we'd like to see degree days grow every year. We'd rather just see electric sales grow, but not necessarily degree days. So we're doing well in that regard. Going back to the FMEA annual meeting, we did get recognized for some things that we achieved as a group. And I brought these things with me today. You can take a look at them later. We don't want to drop one. But the first award that we got was the Outage Duration Reduction Award. What does that mean? So each year we strive to have our System Average Interruption Duration Index, what we call SAIDI, which is average time that we interrupt customers on our system. The goal is to be well below 60 minutes. Last year, we hit 48.9 minutes was the average. This year, we reduced by more than 10%. We got down to 39.6 minutes for calendar year 25. So we got an award for that. We get the duration award. So congratulations to the team. It's not mine. The team did this.
It's the team.
And at the same time, we got the endurance awards. We got duration and endurance. I'm told those are really good things. So we got it for being below the 60-minute mark for 2 years in a row, which is difficult to do. 2 years below that and more than a 10% decrease. So that's really, really
That's
good.
great.
So
Wonderful.
that's great. System is doing well. Thank you for your continued support. I also received this award. It's actually just a wall plaque. I think everybody gets one of these when you go through the presidency of the group. I mentioned it, but I think it's been since 1984 since somebody from Lake Worth Beach was able to sit in that chair. I noted that when you get elected to the position, the gavel is not screwed down to the plaque. But when you leave, they screw it down so you can't use it anymore, I told. If I ever did, exactly. So these things will be on the wall at the 1900 building and then eventually in a new display case. We'll keep all the awards that we get, whether it's Lyman Awards, any kind of awards that we get, we'll keep them there instead of taking them home. Next thing to mention is we kicked off our artificial intelligence workshops. Internal to the department, we've had 15 to 20 people in the room. They've been engaging, active, long, and so far we've got a little over 15 or so potential opportunities that'll be boiled down a little further. We have to be cautious not to think that artificial intelligence is going to solve everything that we need to do or want to get fixed. Some things have to get fixed within the existing systems. But there appear to be some opportunities which might lend themselves well to an artificial intelligence tool of some sort. So we'll continue to go through the workshop and those will be vetted. We will want to get some public participation so that at least the public is aware of what we're looking at, so they're not scared about what we're doing with it and have a better understanding of what we're doing with that. We'll probably mention it at the Citizens Academy, touch on the fact that we're researching it and getting into it. At the moment, I view these things as productivity improvements and what I would call almost a force multiplier. How do we do much more with the resources we have rather than come and asking you for more people? So how do we do some things that we can't do today? Maybe there needs to be more things running behind the scenes in programs and in AI packages to speed things up. Maybe some things that we're doing manually today should be automated and happening more quickly. So we're looking at that type of stuff. So we'll continue to report back to you when we have a more firm product. You'll get a presentation on that.
And what was the name of the woman who we sat with at dinner that's running that for you?
Diana Pracken.
Diana.
Yep. And her and her partner Ain from California are leading us through these workshops. Just to be clear, they're not actually going to sell us the tools. They're helping to guide us towards what are the things that are eligible or practical, maybe to use AI for, and then help guide us towards what AI platform may be able to help us and help us through that procurement process if it's warranted. So there's a bunch of steps to go through. But that's who was helping us through that. I'll mention that we're not going to get into a lot of detail because we'll get these reports out and get them published. We've got to go through for Yannick, of course, the PCA. We did okay for PCA in May. We actually lost ground. Says, well, you just said we did okay. Well, we lost ground. We lost ground because the nuclear outage in June, rather, the nuclear outage went longer than expected. So had that nuclear outage ended when we expected it to end, we actually would have gained on the PCA by a little over $100,000, but because the outage went longer, which means we had to buy more replacement power into the supplemental contract, we actually lost a little bit of ground. So we're running at about a negative $1.2 million in the aggregate, and we're going to talk a little bit later tonight about moving some money from the storm fund over to the PCA. But it's not that alarming. Revenues are coming in strong, and I'm confident that we're going to make some good headway on this before the end of the year. That's for sure. That's what we currently project to happen. Now, natural gas prices go crazy. That's a different thing. Solar portfolio is performing well. Things are going well in that regard.
Thank you.
And I think that's enough.
Ms. May and Ms. Maleka.
Two things. One, I just wanted to thank Mr. Bailey. Thank you for calling me today when and Ed, I called you. We had an outage in College Park. And it was 45 minutes, something like that. So it's under your average. So we're okay. But it was caused by balloons. People letting helium balloons go. So I just wanted to put it out there. That's my PSA of the day. And it's just horrible for the environment and for the electric reliability rates. So, and we didn't have, and the turtles and everything. So please, please, please do not release balloons into the atmosphere.
Thank you, Ms. Maleka.
Thank you. Just going back, because you touched on the transfer from the storm fund to the rate stabilization fund. I know that we're not there yet, but I had requested from finance some additional backup that wasn't provided to us, Mr. Perry.
It was,
right
it was
there.
provided.
Oh, it's
It was
underneath
not in
this
the
sheet of
original. You
paper.
asked for it. We got it to you on Friday, I believe.
Yeah, okay. Was it added to the backup for the community to see? Okay, thank you.
For the record, what Commissioner Malega was asking for was what was the actual current balance in the fund before you approved it, before you approved to move it. I should point out too, the other thing that we did fix was you all had recommended that we have the Citizen Don't Energy website moved to 3 languages. So that's now been enabled. I'm told. I haven't actually checked it in Spanish, or I don't speak Creole, but Spanish I do. I haven't checked it, but I see the little tab there and the instructions that says it will work. The team has confirmed that does work, and we also added a link for the bill payment. If people go there, they want to pay their bill, they'll click there and it'll take them over to the bill payment site.
Thank you.
I actually had a lady who came up here to me yesterday who was at the meeting last night, who I met at Rolo. And she said, the last Rolo meeting, you said something about doing something with the electric bills. Are our bills the same? How do I do that? So we are hopefully going to get more people to join in on the budget billing as well.
And we are expanding that site to also include performance information, statistical performance on outages, and eventually we'll move to more of our key performance indicators that we've talked about during the budget process. Those will be published on a regular basis on that website as well.
I don't read the languages, but it does work.
Thank you.
Great. Mr. Mavoy.
And I believe, just for clarification, it's the Mylar balloons that we're particularly unhappy about because they're conductive.
They're all bad, but those are especially bad.
Yeah, we especially do not like
Yeah.
those.
And I can tell you,
I don't think the one yesterday was.
yeah,
Today.
there was actually 2 of them, if I saw correctly. And I can tell you, as somebody who spends a lot of time on the water, it's really a
Yeah.
bummer when you
see
see
so
balloons floating in the water, or plastic bags, or single-use water bottles. It's one of my pet peeves. That's not why I'm here tonight, but
No, it's
just
awful.
I just want the public to be thinking about that.
They look like jellyfish and
Yeah.
they eat them and then they
Yep.
die.
Yeah,
I was just going to note, I'm glad to hear, well, I'm not glad to hear about the increased degree days. We can expect them to continue to go up. I don't know about at that rate, but they probably will. And one thought, I occasionally through LinkedIn see interesting things relating to the electric industry and interesting comments on artificial intelligence and data centers. And one of them was some suggestions from Jennifer Granholm, who used to be the Department of Energy and seems like a pretty thoughtful and informed person. She really pointed out and reminded me something that I've been interested in for a long time is battery storage. Get the AI guys to help, because part of the deal is you want them to be better partners onto the grid and give some more buffering. So get them to help out with that. I raised the battery thing because I just encourage you, I'm sure you're doing it already. Keep an eye out for opportunities, because that's our one addition that we could add to the solar that would get us more mileage out of them if it ever becomes, financially within our means to do that. Storage.
To that point, there are two significant initiatives. I'd say one is very significant underway at FMPA, which we're watching closely. They're sharing information with us on, and that's a battery energy storage project that would be located in the Keys. And that is being done or being looked at for the purpose of improving the capacity position on that transmission line going to the Keys, which is reaching its peak. And the thought is that they could store energy in batteries further down the Keys and use that energy to avoid setting a higher peak on that transmission line, which is constrained. That has gotten significant traction. However, prices are not coming in at the point where it looks that attractive right now. And what they're finding nationally is that the best prices and the bulk of the equipment are going to other markets, such as markets where data centers are being built in Texas and in the New England area, but in Mid-Atlantic. So getting access to that storage equipment is harder to get at the smaller sizes. But the other aspect of what FMPA is now going to take a look at is, does storage work in conjunction with any of the solar projects, the FMPA sites that we've developed together, we're a customer on. So it might make some sense to do it there. They're going to investigate that. And of course, there's the possibility of us doing storage here on our own system, which they're going to help us evaluate together with Enfront, our own consulting company.
And just for the public, when people talk about storage, battery storage in systems, they're not looking to store as you might if you were doing a home system where you might want to store for 3 gray days. This is usually storage for 2 hours, maybe for, if you're really lucky and it's an enormous storage, 8 hours.
Correct.
But you're looking to shift the solar peak, which is maybe 2, 3 in the afternoon, to the usage peak, which is more 6 to 8.
Right.
And there a few hours can make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more achievable with a smaller or
Right.
less expensive battery system.
So one way to look at this is to say, some power plants might run 50, 60, maybe up to 90% capacity factor. It means they're not running 100% of the time at 100% of their capacity. They cycle back. The thought is, including with solar, is to keep them at the high performance level, put that energy into the battery instead of cycling it back, and then use the battery to offset all of the production that would have been required during the day. So you're getting basically more use out of the existing power plant by running it longer and discharging energy during the day instead of just resorting to building yet another power plant to meet that daytime peak. Now that works so long as you can recharge the battery and that the battery has enough cycle time. But the batteries are very expensive and there's an energy loss. You put 100 units of energy in, you're going to get about 85 units of energy out. So there's a loss in that process. Those are very, very rough numbers. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't look at it. We're going to take a look at it and see if it makes sense.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, next up is public participation, but I want to ask to be indulged. I have these books and I was going to do the end of the meeting, but I think while people are still here and people are still watching before the end, I'd like to just introduce this. Stephen Lockwood is our latest amazing historian. He does remarkable work. His research is impeccable. And he came last week. He's up north right now, but he came last week with his latest edition, which I'm here to hand out. He's a very kind man. He's very invested in the city of Lake Worth.
And-
Of course, I'm going to hand out to everybody.
Oh,
Yes, we're going to hand them out.
One.
I think he did give you one when he was here that day. And we'll have, geez. I've had a hard day. So I just want, it's all about the casino and the beach, which is of course relevant to our lives here. And, Amazon, $15. Back to the Future. And there will be copies in the library for people to take out. So thank you very much. I just didn't want it to be like 10 o'clock and nobody cared. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, it's really, he does remarkable work. We now have public participation of non-agenda items and consent agenda. Oh, don't even, please.
Read the.
I've had a long day. It's made, I can't even look at it.
I put my-
Where's my, okay, there. I just have two, Ramsey McLeod and Mr. Hitchcock. Oh, please. This makes me crazy.
The lure of public-private partnership.
I opened, it's like a tarot card. I opened to a radical change in architectural style. Miss McLeod.
Can I put these underneath? Thank you. Wait. Ramsey McLeod, 24 South C Street. It appears that our webmaster may have fallen down the proverbial rabbit hole. A few months ago, I accessed the city's website and a little pop-up box appeared asking if it could help. I typed in food truck ordinance and it quickly came up with all the information. Last week, when I went to the city's website, there was no pop-up box, and now I have to click on government along the top of the page. And when that page appears, there's a quick link submenu that lists code of ordinances on the lower right-hand side. When I click on that and do a search for food truck ordinance, I get a list of every place in our ordinances where the word food or truck is listed. 17 entries. As a result, I did a search via Google for the Lake Worth Beach food truck ordinance, and I got the entire ordinance as well as the form to submit a permit request. I believe this is how our website was intended to operate, but it appears to have veered away from that capability, something I thought you should be made aware of. I know you have reviewed procedures, etc., for being on the dais, and I'm requesting that you consider adding parameters on what can be presented during the commission liaison reports and comments, or perhaps shortening the title to just commission reports. So far this year, from what I've observed, there are no neighborhood associations in District 2, or if they do exist, they don't meet and have voiced no concerns, trends, or information to share with the rest of the residents of our city. In addition, I've yet to hear any feedback on their commissioners' attendance at committees or agencies they are representing our city on. I look forward to these reports because it's an opportunity for me to learn more from residents in other areas of our city. It also lets me know how involved and or engaged a commissioner is in the district they represent. I want to know if neighborhood associations are meeting and what are the concerns in their area. Are there trends occurring that other residents would be made aware of? Do they have projects, cleanups planned, etc.? Is there feedback on construction projects or developments occurring in their area? I feel these reports help to tie our residents together because we then become more aware of what's impacting them and occurring in other parts of our city. It also alerts residents to concerns that may begin to appear in their area and how best to handle them. In addition, this commissioner's singular focus seems to be on the Guatemalan residents in our city, yet they have taken no action to mitigate the continual destructive behavior of the Guatemalan men. I would like to encourage you to request city staff prepare a document listing the costs incurred by the city because of this behavior and present the bill to the Guatemalan Mayan Center or the Guatemalan Embassy for reimbursement of these mounting unexpected costs. The residents of this city have a right to know how you are being forced to spend our taxpayer dollars on the fallout from their bad behavior, particularly in our parks and playgrounds, instead of on needed projects or repairs. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hitchcock? Yeah.
Good evening. Wade Hitchcock at 1506 13th Avenue North. Real quick, the downtown, we need to do something to bring it up. It is going really down as far as Nothing down there for families to come into this town and feel like there's anything for their kids. It's either a smoke bake place or restaurants that have nothing for kids. You don't have an arcade or anything for them to come here so the parents can enjoy themselves and the kids can enjoy and say how great of a city it is to come to. There's nothing. And we got people walking in our restaurants bumming for food. You know, I don't know what we can do about that, but let's go on to your other subject. The beach. You were talking about the turtles and everything. This is from the Cabana Boys out there. They take the rubber bands that break, they throw them on the beach. And this is what I found in less than a month. And I tried to tell them, why don't you help clean the beach instead of trashing the beach? They'll set their chairs right on beer bottles and everything else. Yeah. And I think it was Monday, cleaning along the pier, I found a nice snatch hook that you use for snatching bait, hooked to a piece of cable right next to the pier on the nice section of the beach. Any parent that was coming here from out of town, they would have been going to the ER to get that cut out of their foot. Because I know what those things can do. I've been snatched by them fishing with other people. And you do go to the hospital to have them cut out. But you're talking about your balloons on power lines? It's the same thing at the beach. There's nobody there to enforce any of this stuff. We got one guy we call Turtle John. He tries to educate them about the turtles because he marks out the turtles. But there's no reason for this. None at all. I mean, if you're going to do business on our beach, you're responsible to clean up just like any other business would tell you, clean up, even the pier, restaurants.
So I think.
Yeah, they need to step it up instead of saying, not my job. Thank you.
Approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
By Mrs. Malega, second by
Second.
Mr. McBoy. All in favor of it?
Aye.
The consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a
Second.
Second by, first by Mr. Zegler, second by Mr. McBoy. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And now we're gonna take new business B. Change order one with B&B Underground Construction, Inc. for Eden Place at 16th Avenue North Seawall and drainage improvements. Ms. Vaughn, I hope you're feeling a little bit better.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything, do you have a motion?
Motion to approve.
No.
Go ahead.
Second.
Do we need any discussion?
I don't have any questions.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Please go take care of yourself. Ms. Baker.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
All right,
You too.
take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Back to unfinished. Okay, unfinished business A. This is the extension of the Bradley's lease.
Yes.
I did not get a chance to print it out. Oh. I did not see it. I didn't see it. It may have been. Here it is. Oh, and this.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw there was changes, but they didn't underline and strike out, so it was really hard to know what changes were.
I'm sure Glenn
I
knows.
really asked. Well, but I don't think they were crossed.
Maybe Mr. Glenn can give us insight.
That's the easiest way to do it.
So at your last meeting on this topic, you provided some direction about having the electric utility install a meter there. And once that happens, they'll pay electric bills.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Sure, the rent will be $7,500 a month. The one change from the packet that you had on your agenda was the CAM, which if you recall, there was some discussion about what area is the common area maintenance we paid for. The square footage of the property was a little uncertain. And so what we had done is put in the CAM for a cleaning staff member for the entryway, the reception area, and the restrooms. But apparently upon re-listening to the minutes of the meeting, that was really supposed to be in the next lease. So I took that out. That's the only thing that came out. It was the last couple of lines on the top of the second page. So if you have the older one in front of you, you'll see after when it says tenant will pay the city's solid waste collection. Then right after that, it used to say the city will clean and maintain the common area maintenance and the canvas this much, that's gone. Other than that, it's what you've had in your packet since the beginning of a week or so ago.
Okay. Okay, and how does it break down in terms of, and I keep barking about this, and I'm gonna continue to keep barking about this, the condition of the dining room, the sound of the dining room, the chairs.
No, there's nothing in the lease that says that other than the general terms about maintaining it in, good and proper condition. There were 3 specific items that I think Commissioner Malega had
Right.
mentioned. One was the concrete steps needed to be fixed. That's done. The second was the storage unit needed to be secured and then surrounded by Calusa, and that's been done.
Are all the violations corrected?
Yes, at this point, yes. Because the deck was one, the deck was finished a few weeks ago. The concrete steps was the other one, and the third one was the storage unit.
Thank you. I see Miss May's light is on.
Thank you, and I want to thank you for working so hard on this, Glenn. And we did do a little bit of, or I did a little bit of research just on the typical rent percentage of revenue that restaurants in this area would get, not necessarily waterfront or golf club, just restaurants in general. And I found that to be about 10 to 12% of their revenue should be paid to rent. I mean, standard. And if you take, especially if you take CAM out, we're at, what was the garbage again, Mr. Perry? Yeah, but what was that? 700, 10, 12, 8,400.
$9,436.49.
Okay, so plus 53,000 for electric, plus 90,000 for rent equals 152 divided by their yearly revenue is 7.6%. So 7.6 for their overhead, we're not including obviously what they pay for staff, but as far as the lease goes. So I would say that that's a pretty fair deal in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do you have any public comment?
No, Madam Mayor, I have no comments on any item this evening.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Let's see.
Motion to approve.
By Mr. Segridge.
Second.
By second. I do have Mitch
By second.
by Miss Malega.
Yep.
Mitch has a public comment. That's the only public comment I have. Is that true? Okay. I'm sorry.
Mary, yours
Mary,
said
you
public
said
participation, which we ended on.
Good evening. Hi.
Ready? Hi. Hello, Commissioners and hello, Commissioners and Mayor. I want to thank everybody for working so hard on this. And I know it's been kind of a tough go at this, and I know everybody really worked hard. The CAM thing I wanted to just bring up real quick is this is a shared facility with the golf course. So and we're going to work towards it though. Okay. Right. Is that what I think we're going to work towards it on the next lease?
Mr. Tracy.
No, right now, this lease does not have any CAM in it at all. Now, this lease is 1 year, so.
Right.
At the end of the year, then the commission had previously directed that we look at what the square footage of the CAM would be and maybe even go out for proposals. But at this point, this 1 year lease does not include CAM.
Right. I was looking to go to a more permanent deal is what I thought they were looking at. But it's a shared thing. So that's why I was wondering if it could be shared with the golf course if we do go to a CAM. Yeah.
To our attorney or your lawyer needs to talk to.
Yeah. Okay. We've been talking. So, and I just want, with the electric, I was just wondering if it's when the thing gets put in, whenever that happens to be, if we could take a look at it then and decide, I could make a more, educated guess as to how much it's going to be, because right now it's like, I feel like I'm just going to give a blank check and say here, because I have no idea what the electric's going to be. I got an estimate that the whole property was $5,000, which 50 what?
50,000.
50,000. I'm sorry, 50,000.
Roughly.
But Yeah, I mean, that I can work with, you know, but I think they said something like maybe 500 to 700 possibly, which is great, but I just don't know. So that's why I was wondering if it was something we could take a look at in the future and maybe put that on the thing move it to the next thing, the next permanent lease. So I was just wondering about that. And I just want to, you know, like the gentleman earlier said about children. We love children. We love families at our restaurant. And yeah, that gentleman, I'd love to have all the children he knows come over there and they run around, they enjoy themselves. Parents don't have to really worry
Thank you.
about
That's
them.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Okay, Mr. Moore has his light on.
I just wanted to thank colleagues and our attorney. I think the goal, as far as I understand, the goal that we had of continuing a family-oriented, relatively affordable, very welcoming sort of a place has been achieved, along with a little bit of an adjustment to balance, you know, how the city benefits and and keep the place going. I believe, my understanding is that this is whatever we've come up with now is feasible to keep it going, and that I'm glad for that. So
One thing I want to bring up is I think the city can do better when you drive in there to the right. There's the dumpster. Can we put a hedge up? I mean, it's really, it's new, but there's still stuff there. I mean, there's still another, what? Since, yeah, but there was something up there the other day.
Now, we'll say there was a pool company there last week that I sent Mr. Perry some information on. I'm not going to call that pool company out, but they were using our parking lot as a staging for all their heavy equipment, and they did some damage that staff is trying to make them take care of.
That's unfortunate.
They were installing a pool and using our parking.
Oh, no.
I'm sure that's great.
No doubt. No doubt. There you go. Okay, we have unfinished business. This is unfinished business. Mary, there you go.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
we had a first and a second for the lease. We did not have a vote.
We're gonna hear from Mary.
Oh, my apologies.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. They help a lot.
Okay.
Mary Lindsay, 327 Columbia Drive in beautiful College Park, Lake Worth. I'm not sure that this directly ties to this item, but I did want to make sure that the commission and the public knew that everyone is invited to a wonderful party up at the casino on August 15th as we say farewell, good luck, and thank you for 34 years of dedicated service by Cindy Ansell. So I want to make sure you all knew about it and that I had the opportunity to share this, and I shouldn't have been stuck out in the hall. I was talking to Mr. Liberty. That's why I missed public participation. I'm so sorry. I appreciate that. 6 to 9. Tickets are $30. This is being held by your hosts are the wonderful Friends of the Lake Worth Library Group, where every single nickel that's raised goes right straight to our city library. So we're real happy about that.
Great. Thing.
Now, Ms. Mary, just so you know, there's some of us that will be at the legislative conference and that weekend and will not
But
be in
no,
attendance.
it gets out at like noon on Saturday.
No, it doesn't.
Or fine. I mean, okay. I mean, it's usually just chit chat at the end.
No, not at the annual conference.
There may be
Uh-huh.
some-
We may have an issue, but it's only in Hollywood, so we can drive up. We'll make it.
Good.
We'll make it.
That would be great. And bring all your friends. We really want to give Cindy a nice send. 34 years, 20 years as an unpaid volunteer. Her mother founded the Friends of the Lake Worth Library, and she served on the library advisory board for 20 years and then 14 years at the actual in the stacks, we
Yeah.
like to say.
She's been so creative and so innovative and just connects with the community and lives here. I mean, she's one of us, and that's really terrific. And I'm very pleased to hear that she's happy about her replacement. She feels fine.
Yes, he's wonderful. David is just wonderful. He's one of us too.
Great.
He just doesn't happen to live in town yet, but we always
Yeah.
get him in the
Opposite
end.
word.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, commissioners. I appreciate your indulgence.
Oh, next
We
up,
vote
we have
now?
a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. New business C, work
Nope,
order.
A.
Oh, okay, A.
Sorry.
That's okay, I have unfinished business. Resolution 29-26, transferring funding from the storm fund to the rate stabilization fund. I think Mr. Liberty.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Do you want to,
I think we need to hear a little bit
Okay.
about.
Mr. Liberty, you want to address this, Ms. Milligan? What's your pleasure?
It's not really a question. I'm gonna be voting against this and there's a big reason why. I'm not comfortable. Again, we just saw Holly Smith last week from Sanibel. And when I think about the storm fund, there's a reason it was created. And I understand that this was the seed money. But we just heard that the degrees days are hotter, the usage is higher. I think that this rate stabilization fund will bounce back. I don't want to take any money out of the storm fund. We are in the middle of storm season. We don't know what's going to happen. I had a very in-depth conversation with some of the finance staff today, Mr. Perry, on the overall finances and what could possibly happen in the next 1 to 2 to 3 years in this city. Between property taxes, and if enterprise funds get stripped from us next year or the next legislation year for being able to make transfers to the general fund, what that looks like. And I brought this storm fund policy forward because I believe in it. And I believe what it will do one day for the residents of the city. And I'm very nervous and skeptical about moving $500,000 out when we just heard, like I said, what I would consider good news, even though it's not good for our air conditioners and us and the environment. When it comes to the rate stabilization fund, I'm not comfortable with it. And I have to go on the record for it. The stabilization fund for the storm fund was for the storm fund. And it's two different issues that we're dealing with. And I understand this was the seed fund that we borrowed from, but at the same time, we created the rate stabilization fund. There never was one of these. So these are policies that we've put in place for the betterment of the financial future of this city and for financial stability. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not going to support it. I understand why it was brought forward. I'm in fear of it, especially during this time of the year.
Thank you, Ms. May.
To that note, I see that the original, I wasn't here in November of 23, but the original storm fund was funded through a transfer from the PCA. So if I could have just a little bit of history on that, Mr. Liberty, was it intended as a loan or was it intended as seed money not to be returned?
I agree with Commissioner Malega. In regards to the statement, it's seed money. It was not intended to be a loan. But you all have the authority to, by vote, to move it back and forth. But that's correct. It was not spoken of as a loan.
Okay, so it was never intended at the beginning to be moved back.
Correct. And we did not, at that time, did not have a storm fund. Our storm fund was in essence our fund balance.
Right.
Right.
Which had taken a rather significant hit. And if we go back, let's say 25 plus years, to what helped put the utility in a tough situation, the FEMA payments, which we're still working down, right? We're being paid for essentially out of fund balance. So every time a storm hit, we would pay for it right out of fund balance.
Oh, God.
So we had proposed
Right.
a storm fund be created, and that's what the commission did unanimously, to create a storm fund.
Right.
Anyway.
So, Mr. Liberty, then, if we did not move this $500,000 into the rate stabilization fund, because I know you just said we're negative 1 million in there. Do we?
Negative 1.2 in total between the
Right.
stabilization, between what we call the checking account and savings
Right.
account, the net is a negative 1.2.
The net is negative 1.2 with the would that be able to be, I don't know the financial term, made up through the fact that we're making more money?
Through the PCA, yes, to the extent that gas prices stay below what was assumed in the piece when we set the PCA and the volumes stay.
Right, and didn't we just
Aye.
raise the PCA?
Yes, we did March 1, I believe, the PCA.
And have we seen the returns from that yet?
Yes, we are. We are seeing, so we've made a little bit of gain and we've lost a little ground. We go up and down. So for example, with the nuclear outage, we We were going to gain a little bit when the nuclear outage went longer. We lost a little bit.
Okay.
So we're hovering right around that negative $1.2 million number.
Is that something we're like paying interest on, or is it just really a not an actual, more of a figurative?
It's real dollars. We're not paying interest on it. It's a spreadsheet calculation that debits out of our fund balance, essentially. The $500,000 that's in the stabilization fund, that's actually physically in the stabilization fund, and that is gaining interest. The negative amount, which is negative 1.7 plus the 500 nets you to negative 1.2. That negative 1.7 is basically being carried against the fund balance in the electric utility enterprise fund. It's not a separate fund.
All right. So then as the motion maker, I'm going to renege, and I'm not going to make that motion.
I was just
Withdraw. I'm going to withdraw my motion.
vocabulary words. You'd like to withdraw your.
I would like to withdraw my
With
motion.
the second election, withdraw their second. Who was the secretary?
Anthony.
Mr. Zegwood, yep.
And I would like to make a motion to disapprove the transfer of the 500.
Second. I just have one question. If we don't do this, I mean, what about do you feel like the rate stable fund will bounce back at some point?
Yes, I do.
And if we come into an emergency,
We've really grown our fund balance substantially. I don't have Stantec's numbers in front of me, or I believe it's in the $13 to $15 million range.
And it's your, not your, but the electric fund
it's
balance.
electric
It's
utility.
not the general fund.
Correct. It's an enterprise fund,
Correct.
specifically within the electric utility.
How come you can't just transfer it from there?
Well, number one, I wouldn't have the authority to do
But I
that.
mean, could we transfer it from there if need be?
In theory, yes, you could take it from the fund balance.
Makes more sense to
I
me.
would say if you want to continue to watch this, it's okay.
Yeah.
These are the policy decisions to make. Well, staff will follow your instruction.
Okay.
yep, Mr. McCoy. Mr.
Thank you.
I don't know what the order is.
I did, you both get a chance. Has
Um,
been seconded by Mr. Zegwood.
just for clarification, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the intent of the storm fund is pretty straightforward by the name. That's for stuff that we do not think will happen, but are concerned could. And that those can be quite expensive. The number that sticks in my head always is, even if we just bring in folks and they don't do anything, you're looking at about $1 million bill.
Probably.
And you have to do that for all the reasons that you've explained to us, that, you know, everybody's going to be looking for help, but you got to get your request in while there's still help available. So that gives some idea. That's sort of your minimum bill. My recollection of the rate stabilization fund, which we also established, is, look, we know that the market can swing around, or the nuke plant can go out for longer than is expected. Rather than chasing each of those bumps up and down very actively, lower the PCA, raise the PCA, lower the PCA, let's put a little bit of a buffer aside, and on some of the smaller bumps, throw something out of the rate fund, stabilization fund, or so throw something in if we have a good day, to buffer the changes a little bit more, so that customers don't see it waving around quite as much. Seems like a reasonable idea and a reasonable objective, but it's not, it's a helpful fund. It's not a, hey, the sky will fall if we don't use it.
Correct.
So in that sense, the two funds have very different objectives and different targeted usage. I think I would have to agree with Commissioner Malega that if we don't really have to, and if the rate stabilization is kind of an optional thing anyhow, let's leave that $500,000 in the storm fund and sit tight. And, you know, it may mean that we do have to do a PCA adjustment at some point, depending on what comes down the pipe. But at least we've got some spare for stuff that doesn't happen. That would be my thinking.
It's like having an umbrella to make sure it doesn't rain. Mr. Segridge.
I've got two.
I have so many.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So is the PCA fund at a negative, I forget what you said, 1.7 or 2 point?
1.2.
1.2.
Well, no, 1.2 after transfer.
No, so let me clarify that. So there is a rate stabilization fund. There's no PCA fund per se. So the rate stabilization fund, think of it as our savings account that has $500,000 in it, and it plus interest. It continues to grow. I don't know the number with interest, but it continues to grow with interest. In our checking account, which is really our daily operating account, if you will, a monthly operating account, we're running negative 1.7. So what we do is we add those two together to say how are we ahead of or behind on our total PCA recovery. So we count the stabilization fund plus the operating account number. We net those out. That's how we come up with a negative 1.2 million, rough numbers, $1 million. It's in the report. We can open up and stare through the numbers, but I think general is good enough for this discussion. Negative 1.2 million is where we're at. And we set the rate effective March 1. I believe we went up by about $7 per month on 1,000 kilowatt hour home, if I remember correctly. Yeah, up to. So it made a significant difference in our recovery. Natural gas prices have stayed a little bit high, but not unbearably high. And we're doing okay. Absent the nuclear outage that went longer than we expected, we would have gained about $110,000 plus. Instead, we lost about $107,000, something like that. But I'm not that uncomfortable with it. If you're not that uncomfortable with it, if the thought was we were thinking that maybe there was some pressure from you all to try to get that PCA decreased on the bill. But if you're content for now to keep going the way we're going, that's okay with staff as well. I think I go back to one of the reasons that we turned on the PCA. It had been turned off for many years. Not that we weren't collecting on it, but we weren't watching it closely as a utility and reporting out to the 5 seats here on a regular basis again until 2019, 2020, when we said, hey, we really have to start. We matured to the point in turning around the utility. We need to be talking about this. So these discussions are healthy. You all have a good idea of what the PCA balance is. The important things, we're not using PCA balance to make our base budget look good or bad. They're separate items, and you're actively being updated on it. You're monitoring it. Discussions are healthy, and our fund balance, which is important in our bond rating, for example, continues to grow, and it's growing this current year. We expect a good, healthy growth on fund balance.
What's our bond rating right now? I forget. With Fitch?
Fitch does not have a direct rating on us. We have a Moody's rating. I want to say it's A2. And it's off the top. That's off the top of my head. I have to go make sure I get the terminology correct.
I was just asked that.
Fitch maintains a private rating on us because they follow us indirectly because they watch the St. Lucie bonds for FMPA very closely. So, and we're the largest participant. So Fitch watches very closely, but they have not issued a rating on us. We may choose to seek a rating from Fitch for our next bond issue.
Thank you,
So
Mr. Sager.
how are we growing our rate stabilization fund? Is that basically when the PCA, we're beating it?
Yes.
And so that, from an accounting perspective, gets chalked into that. So
exactly,
since I've been sitting up here, we've been losing against it, kind of slowly but surely ticking down. And I know we moved some stuff around. Do you think we were aggressive enough in looking at rates? And then also, given the current international climate with oil and the pressures that's putting on other fuel sources and so forth, and the climate, and depending on what happens, do you think we're doing enough to basically buffer ourselves from what could be still very expensive roads ahead?
That's a very good question. So let's go back in time. At one time, Commissioner McBoy would remember this, post COVID, we actually think we got into the negative $5 million number. And then we adjusted the rate and we ballooned up to, I want to say, positive $3+ million. And that's when things were good. We were well ahead, and we were looking at ratcheting back. And we said, well, I think we may have ratcheted back. And then we moved $500,000 in the storm. And so we've been riding the wave. We tend to, by nature, PCAs will lag the actual usage curve. You're always chasing it. And what we tried to do was avoid having monthly or quarterly swings, kind of set a number and let it ride for a while. And that's what we've been doing. But you're right, probably in your tenure, yes, you probably saw it continue to drop.
So over the years, we've now achieved a much smoother curve, tracking closer to it, which is where we want to be. And so for, for the folks at home hearing we're 1.7 or 2 point something under the margin, it's a scary number, right?
Correct.
But it's to be expected as we're trying to trace a smooth curve versus the yo-yo effect, right? Of going up and down. Just a general question for, I know we're doing a lot of storm hardening and so on. Are our storm hardened assets insured against the storm? Or, what kind of insurance protections do we have against storms?
Well, I'm not an expert on insurance, but we do update our items that we have insured. So we've replaced a lot of poles and built new substations. So they're all part of our current check that we're going through as we move those things into the asset register to make sure that they're insured properly. So we're in a process of gathering that information and making sure that finance has it and then the risk side has it so we can be insured properly.
And then, as you guys brought up, when there is a large incident, we got to bring linemen in, we got to bring in crews from everywhere, right? And that's immediate cash out because you don't pay, they don't work, right?
Right.
And that's where the storm fund, I would suspect, comes in the most handy. Is there an insurance mechanism that can help us defend against that?
That's called FEMA. So our first recourse is to seek recovery from FEMA. But essentially, what happened over the years was, since the city was working off a negative balance with FEMA, the largest incursion of FEMA related or FEMA eligible expenses tended to be in the utility. So the utility wasn't getting the recovery while we're working on that balance. So the utility was self-helping by drawing down out of its reserves to cover items that might have otherwise been able to have been recovered through FEMA. And that's a long story of history of litigation and how we got to where we are today. That's a part of it.
I asked partly because, I know some of the answers, but also because people listening at home, need to understand there's a very complex set of things and that the city has a good handle on it. So thank you.
If we could go back to something you mentioned with regards to the fuel risk and the PCA, one of the things that we do is obviously we have a PCA and we have base rates. Inside of our base rates, we have some things that have some variability to them. So, for example, we have natural gas pipeline contracts, and we monetize those contracts by selling our space with gas through a function which we'll approve with Florida Gas Utility. When natural gas prices get very high, of course, it impacts the PCA, but at the same time, that gas pipeline capacity contract tends to overperform. So we have a little bit of a hedge. We're not buying futures contracts, but as one expense is going up, the other revenue is going up. They're on different ledgers right now. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. We're actually putting together a data set to come back and talk to you about whether those gains should be moved over to the PCA and the base amount be left in the base budgets. So we're taking a look at that. The other thing I'll point out is that when we moved a significant amount of energy supply from coal, from the Stanton project, we moved it over to solar. Well, a portion of the coal expenses were actually in our base revenues. The fixed costs associated with the coal plant are in our base budgets. Now that wore off. That means our base budgets are overperforming, helping our fund balance grow. But that 11 megawatts of coal that retired was replaced by 34 megawatts of solar. Do the math real quick. Oh, that's great. Except for the fact that the 34 megawatts of solar doesn't happen at the time of peak. It happens in the middle of the day. So we're actually buying more capacity, which is hitting the PCA, and all the solar bills are hitting the PCA. And the space was left unfilled in the base budget. So we're going to be talking to a little bit when we get into the rate design in the coming months about maybe moving some capacity payments out of PCA, moving them into the base to fill the hole that was vacated by the retirement of the coal plant. But interesting stuff. I suggest that you each find some time to come in and just chat to get an idea about it. And then you'll really be in much better position when we float these ideas. If you as a group have a consensus that you even want to discuss that. But it's an option that we can look at. So
We're going back
Yeah.
to the universe, we're going back to.
yes,
Liberty
there'll be a whiteboard session, but it's going to get to the issue of the chasing the curve on the PCA, and how do we reduce the volatility of the PCA, but still make sure that we're recovering the money we need to pay our bills. So are there things that we can do? The answer is yes, but it takes some time to understand it more than we can spend in the few minutes that we have here in these meetings. But ultimately, there'll be decisions you need to make in public. Yeah.
Get us all lined up.
We have the whiteboard ready for one-on-ones. Very for that.
Thank you, Mr. McBoy.
Just three things. Three things.
Yes.
Are we, as far as we know, still below FPNL
Yes.
or very close?
We're very, very close. We're somewhere between even to 95 cents cheaper.
Yeah.
In that band. And that's done by actually finding bills that people have received for a
Similar
a
amount.
similar amount, and running it through the billing model, say, how do we compare?
Yeah. So just so the public knows, because we all know that we've had a reputation in Lake Worth as being, oh, crazy expensive. Well, we've been consistently below for a long time.
Yes.
And some of those who've been around a long time may know that I was not all that favorable of that goal 10 years ago, maybe, because I was afraid that the way we were going to achieve it was sucking down our reserves, which turned out to be accurate. But I want to say huge credit to Mr. Liberty that we have maintained that goal of staying on the FPL, and we've been building our reserves back up, which is very important for the bond and all sorts of good reasons. So kudos for being able to pull that off. A question relating to the bond rating and our general ability to borrow. If I remember right, the outside agencies that look at us, part of what they're doing is trying to figure out, is this a bunch of crazies that are running this? Are these pretty solid? And one of the factors, well, hopefully they listen to Mr. Liberty rather than to us on that one. But well, I think we've been doing pretty moderately on this. Is it not true that they looked fairly favorably on the existence of the rate stabilization fund and the existence of the storm fund, as that seems like pretty prudent management?
I'd say absolutely true.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And on the one, the whole electric stuff is a little complex to stay on top of. Basically, the idea of the PCA and the base rate is PCA is fuel related and is going to, you could expect that to be noisier as our fuel costs go up and down. Base rate is all the stuff that we got to do all the time. And then there's some fuzz because coal was something that we paid on a state rate. So we kind of put it into that one, even though it's really sort of a fuel. But for sensible reasons, that's how we divvied it up. And then there's the whole energy costs and capacity costs, which we won't get into right now. But is it not true that there are two things with the solar? One is that they have a lot less volatility because we have known prices for roughly 20-year contracts that are either flat or a known escalator. So there's
2%.
no fuel noise on that one. And then the downside is they don't have as much capacity, so they have a higher capacity cost. But if we were to ever get to battery supplement to it, that would help offset some of that capacity. So
yes,
in terms of our overall thinking, that's how that picture fits together. If I understand.
I think you understand it correctly, sir. Thank you. Yes.
But I do want to come get the whiteboard.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes,
for
glad to have you. Glad to have you there. But
better than waterboard.
You captured the essence of the art of this
it's
very well. So thank you.
Yeah.
To be determined.
Yeah. And thank you. Did we vote? Did we not vote?
Motion to deny and a second to deny. Correct.
No, May and Maliga.
Oh, yeah. May
To
withdrew and then made a motion to deny, which Maliga seconded.
And so if we vote
Yes.
Did you get that,
yay,
Mrs. Clark?
we are
Miss-
not moving the,
Correct.
Correct.
okay.
So we're going yay to the nay.
Got it?
Yay to the nay.
Yay to the nay. All right, all in favor?
Got it, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yay.
very much.
Nay, yeah, yay.
Don't-
Aye.
Stop.
Yes.
I'm just trying to be clear.
And it's not working.
No, it's not working.
We
Okay.
have fun up here.
Yeah, you gotta have a little humor. Thank you, Mr. Liberty.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay,
you.
new business C, work order number 5 with M&M Asphalt DBA All County Paving for golf course resurfacing.
Motion to approve.
We're gonna asphalt the golf course. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Miss May. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi. Wait.
Oh, I'm
and-
sorry. Oh,
Sorry,
Mr.
am
Taggart.
am I blocking this light?
Yeah, I can't see. You put it up there.
Okay.
So I know one of the immediate questions I'm gonna get from residents who live around some of the roads that look like they've been bombed. And then they go and they look at the golf course and they say, well, that's not nearly as bad as the road that's in front of my house. And I know we have a new PCI coming. What is the progress on the new PCI report?
So we have the PCIs, well, Jamie Brown, Public Works Director. We have the new PCIs, they're now being populated into our new system. So that's in the process right now.
So when do we think that process will be completed?
So as we're putting that together, we're also doing programming as well. So probably about another month or so, I'd say.
So-
to a point where we can actually get some active projects laid out for everyone.
Okay, and so people listening at home, it's not finalized yet, but so far in the budget process, we have been looking at allocating an appropriate amount of funds to fixing roads, both on the maintenance side, but also chipping away at the years of deferred maintenance. Once that new PCI is completed and you start looking at those projects, do you think it feasible that for some of the worst roads or some of the roads, at least maybe a year out or something, being able to give people a general idea that, hey, your road might be on this list?
Possible. Keep in mind, we still have to coordinate with utilities as well and their overall master plan too, to make sure that we're not about to do some things that have future utility projects going underneath. So we do need to coordinate with them. So we're at the beginning of a somewhat lengthy process, but we have started and we're well into it now. So we're a lot further along than we were.
Okay, and then just kind of my last question for my colleagues. The parking lot of the golf course facility, I feel the maintenance of that should come out of the golf course fund. Now, I understand the golf course fund doesn't have an awful lot, but Public Works wouldn't fix the parking lot in, let's say, my office building, right? And we treat it as it has its own fund and so on, just like at the beach. If we were going to redo the beach parking lot, I would think that we'd try to utilize the beach fund for that.
It's fine. I have the same question for the next item.
So, I mean, offhand, do you know what percentage is roughly the parking lot versus the streets?
Ooh, I do not. I could find that out, but we obviously wanted to do 7th leading into the golf course itself, so we can attack the parking lot and then also knock out that area right between 7th and 8th on golf while we're there.
Yeah. So my only ask of my colleagues with this, because I think it needs it. I mean, and obviously the golf course, we're trying to make it look even better. It's doing better from a financial standpoint. Compliments to staff and to our golf pro and everything else like that that's been going on, all the events. We're just renewed with the beach club, right? And we asked them to get their ducks in a row and clean up the issues that they had. So I definitely want to see us do this. But I'm wondering amongst my colleagues, should we be apportioning the parking lot to the golf fund versus the roads fund?
Can I chime in?
Sure.
So I concur on that thought. Once I looked at the streets remaining budget for the rest of the fiscal year at 2 million, I felt comfortable. Because right now the golf course has much greater needs than what their bank account allots for. And that's the only reason I didn't bring up that fiscal impact, was because of what the remaining balance is, and we're going into August. So since we're still sitting at $2,020,000 in the streets remaining balance in the street maintenance public works annual roadway fund, according to the fiscal impact. And I know that the golf fund is sitting nowhere near that and has major needs this year. Otherwise, I would completely agree with that. Keep the fund with where the improvement is That's my 2 cents.
That's a great point. But then my last question on this, because the folks at home are going to hear that we've got 2 million left in the streets fund before the end of the year. That means fiscal year, which is October, right? So just so people realize that's not December. Yep, no, I know.
I was just looking to see, because we obviously have
Yeah.
200 coming next and then 1.1 in the next
Yeah.
one, so I didn't know if we had kind of structured these as we went down. I just to show it depleting. and
Yeah.
So
It's going down.
it's safe to say that money will be allocated to streets this year.
Oh, yes.
I just,
No, it's important.
for people at home to
It's
listen.
one of the things it's one of the things we hear about the most from our residents. Okay, Mr. McBoy and then Ms. May.
Mine, I can wait until the next item.
I think that I would agree with the suggestion that the parking lot kind of seems like it goes under the bill for the golf course. I don't think, other than providing staging area for private pool operations, that the golf course parking lot does much other than for the golf course. So yes, that's reasonable. Maybe the beach club should kick in a little for the parking. I don't know. But I think it is a fair concern that for other residents around the city, is it reasonable that we were using a lot of general fund money to do their parking lot? So I would be in favor of, and in terms of the 2 million, the number that I remember that we had for the last budget session was, if we really wanted to try to, I think you used the term chip away, stay on the maintenance, that's more like a 5-6 million a year over a number of years to get there. What's that? Yeah, no, I know, but the 2 million is still a lot less than the 5 or 6, and we are not spending 5 or 6 this year. We don't have that toward roads. So the need at the road fund and for other residents is still a big deal. So I would be in favor of moving a bit more of the cost of this onto the golf fund folks. Maybe it doesn't have to happen as part of this, but just that we figure out how to do that. I see some financial expertise is coming up here.
Well. Okay, is there a response to that? There's no question.
So Valentina Sestera, Assistant Finance Director. So I'm just going to help a little bit. I think the way the task orders were organized, you can see that we started the project with the 2.2 million, and then applying these 3 work orders, we are down to 707. Yes. Okay.
Thank you. I see.
So do we have is there a motion on the table? I can't remember.
Yes, the motion to approve it.
Would the motion maker, whoever that was, be willing to amend it a little? Was it me?
It was you, Commissioner McBoy.
Oh, well, then I guess I can ask him if he's willing to amend his motion to, I'll have a chat with him, but not on our nickel or time. Would there be consensus? Would people have some willingness to say split the cost of that one? How about a quarter this year? 10%?
Do I hear?
Yeah, do I hear 10%? I'm hearing 0. So, all right, but I will hold that. Let's.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
Major point. October.
Okay. Okay.
In favor.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That saved the budget amendment, by the way. By not
Yeah.
moving that.
Good. Okay, now we're on D.
Motion to
No, this is for the next one.
Okay, Miss May has a
motion to approve.
motion approved by Ms. Malega, second by
Second.
Mr. Segridge. Ms. May.
So this is kind of the same idea. My question for Jamie is this is where the green market is, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so the green market's there, and then the overflow parking that we rent out to the Four Seasons.
Yep.
And also generally the employees maybe of the
Beach.
some of the beach tenants park there as well. I'm not gonna lie, I have not driven down there, so I don't know the condition of this.
Horrible.
It's
Is it
pretty
that,
horrible.
it's that bad?
It's really bad.
It has a lot of trip hazards, which always make me nervous wreck during Green Market. Because
Mm,
people are walking and you could just,
yeah, it is. pretty bad.
It's that bad. Okay, I was just thinking about of all the roads, this is probably one of the least used. But not if we're talking about parking, Green Market and all of that.
It is well used.
Okay. And I do kind of agree that in the future, we should look at this coming out of the beach fund because that's where it is and that's what it's being used for, or even the Green Market money going towards it.
do you hear that, Glenn?
All
Making
7
notes?
cents of it.
Making notes?
I see him.
It's, oh, I'm sorry, 7,000 or whatever it is, something ridiculous. Okay, and then so that's what I have on this one. So just thinking about in the future.
Agreed.
So we have a motion, and a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, Mr. Secretary.
Oh, sorry.
Just when you thought it was.
The light's been on the whole time.
Oh, I didn't see,
Sarah.
it's behind your chalk. For one and you would need, Mr. Secretary.
So
Maliga.
I know you brought up, and I don't know if it's been solidified, that there was some grant money for that pier that's on the edge of that area, the old bridge. So we have those empty piers. You had mentioned at some point that there might have been grant money to rebuild that.
Pier.
At Old Bridge Park.
Yeah.
No. He's,
No?
there's,
You're
you're
talking south of the
confused.
bridge? or
You're
north?
thinking where the docks are.
Yeah, but the dock is in Old Bridge Park.
No, Old Park across the street where the Green Market is, two separate properties.
Bridge Park's across.
There's
Green
the
Market.
jetty off of.
There's
near
a-
the boat launch.
There's a missing pier in there, in that
Not
park.
that we own.
Yeah, county.
Just
is,
north of
dealing
the
with that.
bridge.
Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
That's not us.
So there's no plan for fixing that.
I know the county was working on something. I'm not sure what that current plan is, but that pier was, that was always been.
Right. So my only thought on that is if the county is going to be bringing heavy equipment to fix that, could we get them to help fix the parking lot because they're bringing heavy equipment across? And if that was happening in some sort of a near time frame, it's a thought because.
Which pier? I'm confused as to where you're talking about.
So you cross the bridge and the Green Market right
Yeah.
there,
Yeah,
walk
sure.
towards the water. And there'll be a concrete footer that's about 6 foot wide. And out in front of you are brand new pylons. And you can just walk off and fall in the water because the floating dock is missing.
There was the old floating dock, used to be there.
Right, do we know if they're putting it back?
They were talking about doing an actual fixed dock in that location. I'm not sure where that currently lies, where that project is. If I can find out.
Yeah.
But what about Commissioner Segrich's suggestion that if they are going to be, I don't know how heavy equipment it is or whether they'd come in by barge, but could we, especially if they were bringing an asphalt truck with them, could they just drop a little?
I know in the past they've always come by barge. They've had everything by barge. But again, I'll find out what the latest is on that.
Okay. And then just my other comment about the park. There has been a storage container there
Forever.
forever.
The Green
And-
Markets.
Yeah, I know.
No, you shouldn't be there.
I know it's the Green Markets. But we literally just told one of our tenants that they needed to plant Calusia and shield a unsightly storage container. And this has been sitting there being an advertisement for the storage company.
Do you want to know the irony? It's the same person is involved with both entities,
With both storage things?
with the Beach Club and the Green Market.
Where?
There's one,
Oh,
Carrie,
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 Carrie's
Carrie
home.
owns the Green Market.
Not
So
anymore.
you may have to,
Well, no,
No,
I
I've
think,
mentioned that for a number of years.
no,
that it
so
should be-
I would,
So if they want to renew the Green Market, then get rid of that container.
It's just, it's.
or
it's
it has,
local storage, they shouldn't have it now.
or it has to be some sort of
Right.
a structure or sightly or so on.
Yes.
Yes, no,
Yes,
understood.
yes.
But I'd like to get consensus from my colleagues to direct staff to effectuate that.
Well, is it part of his, we have to look at the lease. Is it part of the lease that they could have storage there, first of all? Because they do have a current usage or lease or whatever it's called.
I don't remember what their
Can
lease,
you look at it?
I just don't remember
No,
that.
we-
Look,
Yeah, but if it's against code, it doesn't really matter if it's in the lease. You can't just put something that's illegal in a lease and then have it
Yeah, no,
count.
I,
So
not the first time I've spoken about it.
so my ask is consensus among my colleagues to direct staff that now we finally do take that step and fix that problem.
If it's not against the agreement that
Right.
was previously signed before we got here.
And even if it's.
That doesn't get us in legal trouble.
They should wrap it, if nothing else.
we'll look.
And let's just relook at that
They,
lease anyway.
they can have
Right.
storage there. It just, I think it just should be
Well, I'll
up to
tell you,
code.
the city tormented Meals on Wheels about just that thing in their parking lot. And it had to be fenced in, it had, and
They're gone.
I have said this for almost the whole time they've been up here. It's like it doesn't belong there, or it needs to be shielded or a fence or something, because we have this rule that you can't have these things, and there it is, and it's the cities, and it goes back to that, what's good for us should be right.
Yeah.
So no, I think you have consensus on that one.
Yeah, goose and gander.
The only restriction on my consent is can we please not plant clusia around it? Clusia is not native. Clusia is not native. There's way too much of it planted in the city, and we should not, it grows like gangbusters, so it's a big maintenance problem
Yeah,
too.
we can't see any.
I'm fine with shielding it,
Okay,
you know,
ficus.
Spanish stopper, Simpson stopper, something or other.
The only thing I'm gonna say about the
Ficus?
All right,
Calusia,
let's call the question.
the only thing I would say about the Calusia is that it's very good habitat for nesting birds. They can build nests in there very well. Thank you.
Okay, so we have consensus.
We have consensus for
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
And all in favor of the motion as it was?
Yes.
For
Aye.
Old Bridge, aye.
Yes, aye.
Aye, thank you very much. Okay.
Do we ever get to meet this paving lady?
I'd like to meet her.
I can arrange it.
Okay, cool.
sure.
Okay, now what's up is next is the work order 13, the paving lady. She's a very busy paving lady. Do I have a motion?
So I have a motion, but I wanted to
Right,
add to it.
okay.
So motion for all of the above. And First Avenue South from, what's the name of it? What, Gulfview over?
From Lakeside to Gulfview.
Lakeside to Gulfview.
I drove it today, just on that note, and once you get past Gulfview, it's not bad. It's that first.
Yeah, we spoke earlier, but
Right,
yeah, from Federal to Lakeside, that road's actually in good condition.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
sidewalk, the F curve is also in good condition. So
Second,
it's really just that last block from Lakeside.
When it goes to Gulfview, and then just hear me out, guys. When it goes in, because that's how you get the boats to the boat ramp. So past Gulfview, can you just check and see as you drive from Gulfview to the ramp, if there's a need in that little section?
There's
Yeah.
right when you cross over Gulfview. just
That,
around
can we
one
do
zone.
that part too?
We were going to extend, and this is what I mentioned. So basically, we're looking at a little over $90,000 to do that section.
And well, it looks like we have 700,000 left, so let's.
No,
do
we
it.
have in our CIP that's already approved for this fiscal year. We had one of the zones we had already budgeted for the Gulfview project. It was 4 zones. One of those zones we budgeted because when the Gulfstream, before they come online, we need to redo that entire parking lot and everything in front of that. This would more than likely come out of that pot of money because it's part of.
And if you do that part out of that pot of money, it'll still look okay when you do the other part later?
What do you mean? Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'm a little confused. Now,
So you're looking to add,
I'm looking to add First Avenue South, and I know that it's supposed to be done after the Gulfstream, but by the time the Gulfstream's done,
it'll need to be done again.
we will have lost boats down in the sinkholes. So I'd like to at least have it done now as part of this.
so one of the segments here basically ends at First Avenue. So we would basically just make that L and bring it now from Lakeside all the way past Gulfview into the boat parking area. So that would be another segment we'd be adding on this. And we can utilize some of that CIP money.
Okay.
We had our budgeted for one of those Gulfview zones to do this portion
Okay,
right now.
okay,
And then we're just gonna have to deal with, when the golf stream goes into phase 2 and all that.
Okay.
Damage is done, we're gonna have to deal with the contractor and then kind of correct.
Okay.
I'm gonna add Second Avenue South.
I think it's on there.
Uh,
Second Avenue South from
Yes.
Gulfview to South Palmway's done.
Go. Oh, wait, all right, good. Thank you.
There's a little map with some here.
Can we call the question?
So if you look at the First Avenue one, so you want it, we're going from
Yeah, that's good.
here, so we're gonna add blue here and a little bit more over to the end of the white, yeah. Okay,
Okay,
that would make me happy.
Mr. Segridge.
So if we're gonna be doing South Palmway from Lake to First, and we're doing all the side streets that connect to it, that southern half of that is pretty bad as well, right? And I know you try to
The southern part of,
South Palmway, from First Avenue South all the way down to Fifth Avenue
Not as
South.
bad as that first one.
I understand that it's not as bad, but what is the reason we're stopping there versus kind of just fixing? We're doing 90% of that section. What's the scheduling reason? What is it, a budgetary reason? Like what?
based on PCI and budgetary reasons. So we try to, and we run into this all the time because there's so much bad roadway that there has to be a start point and an end point. And wherever you end, there's always questions by the people on the next block. Why did you stop here? Wherever you start, there's people on the block before that. Well, why did you start there and not back here? It's just something that happens on every single project we do. So we base it on PCI and we try to segment these off so it kind of makes sense as far as like a mobilization standpoint. So we're not paying for multiple modes. You kind of knock out what you can in a certain area and then move on. So it was just kind of based on how many blocks we could do with a certain segment of money before we can move on to the next.
And so the South Gulfview Road is going to be taken care of with the Gulfstream funds.
Yeah, we'd be looking for just that block of the First Avenue South from Lakeside to Gulfview, a little beyond the east side of Gulfview in the parking lot.
My concern with that is I understand the logic in doing that, right? There's obviously a optimal algorithm to figure out exactly, how best to do it. But then I think we also need to weigh it against, are we just perpetuating a patchwork? So the example I'll use, if you run an apartment building and you get a call from a tenant about there being a light out in the hallway, it's far cheaper at that point to go replace all of those lights all at once, because then you're on a schedule. It's one visit, you go, you do it, and so on. Because over time, you're going to have light going out every week, and then you're going to have to keep coming back. Looking at this map, it seems like we've replaced 90% of it, but we could have a clean block, a clean divider from Lake all the way to Fifth Avenue South, which is another major divider, and take care of that whole one section. And then it's all at the same age, all at the same condition, versus having roads. The first block of it's great, then it's bombed out, and then the third block of it is taken care of.
That's unfortunate, Commissioner. That's literally the entire city in the way that everything's segmented.
No, I understand it's the entire city, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're only plugging the holes that are in the most need of it, versus having a strategy for future maintenance. I would have to think, in a perfect world, you had unlimited money and you were able to go ahead and do this. It would be far easier to take care of this whole section at once, every 10 years or whatever it is, than to have to do a block over here, a block over there, a block over here, a block over there, which is where we're at. But at some point, I think kind of that insanity has to stop.
As long as your underground utilities are cooperating with you and you can actually do large swaps, obviously that would be a perfect world. That would be ideal. It's just unfortunate the way that everything's been done over the decades. You kind of are addressing roads that have been done at different times and utility issues that are happening in different locations that have to be repaired at different times. So we are kind of jumping around, but we try to knock out as much as we can in a certain area based on what we have budgeted. But yeah, perfect world, and all our underground utilities are perfect. Yeah, you would want to do large sections at a time.
And a lot of streets are in worse shape than that section of Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They literally stopped on my street at Fifth Avenue and they could have went one more block, Sixth, which was a main road, and they stopped.
No, I understand it's what we do for optimal, but I think at some point, especially now as we're looking at eating away at that deficit, right? The deferred maintenance deficit. I think we need a strategy that isn't just based on the optimal hold plug at that optimal time, but also thinking about.
I think that's the whole purpose of the
It's part of the
PCI.
master plan. It's part of it'll be part of the overall master plan and kind of laying these projects out. Same thing, the coordination with utilities, making sure that what we're doing, you're knocking out sections and also taking care of your underground utilities at the same time. So. The other part that kind of goes along with that is there are going to be a large quantity of roadways where it's more than just a mill and resurface, which is obviously a completely different operation than the areas where we have to do a complete reconstruction, rebuild, which is now you're now touching your subgrade and your base, which is a completely different operation. Sidewalks and curbing on all the roads that need to be done. It's pretty much most of it. The road hasn't been touched in quite a while. So.
Yeah, we do.
So obviously the operation and the actual treatment of the roadway itself, depending on what that is, that also comes factors into what we do.
I'm looking at the North Lakeside from Lucerne to Second Avenue North. There are people on Lakeside on like 4th, 5th, 6th that have been dogging me to have, their street. They're going to be unhappy when it starts at Second, it stops at Second. Same thing. I mean, you do what you have to do. Right.
Well, and Madam Mayor, I need to have Mrs. Cicada come up and help with the motion. We need to, since we're adding a section here, I prefer not to have to come back with an amendment since that's not part of the current contract with them. So we're doing it the right way.
So,
I am.
so if we can revise the motion to include, which street was it?
First Avenue South.
First Avenue South.
Okay.
From
To revise the work, to approve the revised work order to include that street for, and you said 90,000?
For 90,000.
For 90,000, so maybe up for
Up
the
to
total up to 1,210,000. So that's going to be just a little bit over 90,000.
Oh, then, okay. Not to exceed 1,200,000.
210. That's going to be just a little bit over 90,000.
Okay.
And then we will revise the work order, add the additional street and have it.
So number 9 will be First Avenue South between, we said Lakeside and Gulfview.
Correct.
All right. Do you agree with that amendment?
I do agree with the amendment.
I seconded it, yes.
Yeah. I
I
was
agree.
pointing.
Oh,
actually.
oh,
I
sorry.
wasn't talking to you.
Oh,
I was waiting.
And Andy Amoroso says thank you.
I saw it out of the corner of my eyes and I thought maybe we're.
Okay, are we calling the question?
Mr.
Uh,
Before your lights,
I,
do you want to?
my comment could be right after it, so.
After we vote?
Yeah,
All right,
it doesn't relate.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Valentina. Thank you, Jamie.
Request to my colleagues is just as we remember this optimization project process has a lot to do with the underground utilities, particularly with the stormwater drains. Those are the ones that, from what Vaughn told me, are the ones that are most guilty of leaking, causing problems to the subgrid. And one of the problems is that we do not have those leaks and that system mapped out in GIS. Jamie is going to have an awesome GIS system for the PCI, but we don't have the matching underneath. And it's also technically more difficult to map because you're underground. You can't
Right,
get
but we
the
just
GIS.
approved her truck with the
So
camera.
let's just keep that focus and make sure that she gets what you need to get that mapping done.
You could just follow the sinkholes.
The sinkhole, but it's a lot more manual to turn it into a GIS. Eventually, we'll get there.
And then ideally, hopefully, a lot of those can be lined and not actually need to be trenched out.
Exactly, but they still, you gotta map them before you can
Correct.
do the full overlay. So,
Well, we have to commission these own reports and.
and we did vote 5-0 on that one, yes?
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did
I
vote.
think we
by
voted 5-0.
Get us.
We should mark this on account.
Waving my,
I think he needs to go. Go ahead. Go. We'll start with distribution.
You're gonna hear the rap. Okay, District 3.
District 3.
There is a Eden Place meeting tomorrow night at Pomona at 6:30. If anybody's interested in that, they are newly reformed and they are thriving and doing well and very excited to be a functioning neighborhood association again. College Park and Tropical Ridge both meet on Monday nights, so that would be Monday the 3rd at one is at Pomona, one is at not Pomona, Irish Brigade, and the other one is at Compass. Both meet around 6:30, and so that'll be Monday night, the first Monday of the month. So that's those three. Mango, I believe, is the third Wednesday of the month, and Eden Place is not Eden Place. Parrot Cove. Do you remember, Anthony? Since we share Parrot Cove. Okay, well, we can look at that. Okay. And the NAPC meeting is this Saturday, which means I will be late for the backpack giveaway. I will be at the NAPC meeting. It'll be the first meeting we've had since the 4th of July. So I'll bring updates from NAPC. Let's see, we went with the firefighters to pack backpacks for 36,000 of them. So that was pretty fun.
That was fun.
And I have a meeting on Thursday or Friday with Mr. Perry as well, talking to some folks regarding the immigration crisis going on. So I'm going to find out some more information about that. And I am sad to report, and this is I'm pulling my boy here, but I really think it's terrible that the TPS for Haitians has been ended. So that's going to really affect our community as well. But that is more national news than I usually report, but it is kind of heartbreaking. The other thing is, again, I will just repeat, please go outside. If you have a sidewalk, please walk down your sidewalk, and please see if your bushes cover the sidewalk so that your neighbors, when they go for a nice walk, that they cannot walk in front of your house. In addition, if you have a driveway, but your car is parked so that you cannot walk from one side of the sidewalk to the other side of the sidewalk, that also is a problem. So please check that as well. Thank you.
Mr. Segridge.
Must be nice to have sidewalks.
Oh, must be nice to have a beautiful island in the middle of your street that was decorated.
Now, let's not.
Right?
Must be nice to have a little.
It is very nice.
If I had a closet, it must be nice to have a house with closets. And a second bathroom.
Wanted to remind everyone out there that we do have board positions opening up. We have one for the planning and zoning board. It does not mean just apply for that. You can apply for any of our boards at any time, and the clerk will keep your information on record. And when openings come up, they'll contact you. It's a great way, for 1 year. It's a great way to get involved in the city and make a difference. And I really would encourage anyone who wants to do so to join a board. On the topic of boards, we did have a lot of good discussion a couple months back when we went over our board policy. And I had thought we had discussed the topic of attendance and how we were recording that. But I guess at least what I thought wasn't as solidified. And the one particular topic on it is when a board meeting needs to be canceled because there aren't enough members. Myself personally, I feel that those members that could not attend, that caused the board meeting to be canceled, should be marked as absent. I thought that was that.
Oh, really?
I thought that's what we had agreed to, but apparently we kind of talked around it and never had consensus. So
If they cancel the meeting because you can't be there, then you get marked as absent, but nobody else does?
No,
Correct.
nobody gets.
Because it's your cause. It's the reason is you didn't show up. I mean,
So as it exists today, if 3 of the members don't show up and that causes the meeting to be canceled, those 3 members get a freebie. They don't get marked as absent.
But normally they do know ahead of time if there's not going to be a quorum, and there are excused absences. I mean, if you're in the hospital, I don't think you should be.
Yeah, you get
Yeah,
marked
but I mean,
absent, but you
But
have.
there's a limit to how many times you can be absent.
Correct.
Get kicked off.
But we do have some boards that have had problems
No,
of
definitely.
even meeting, and similar people were making up the people who were
Yeah.
missing. So I wanted to get direction or consensus to basically say, if you're one of the members that is causing a meeting to be canceled by your absence, that is an absence. And I wanted to just clarify that for the clerk.
As long as there's,
Thank you, Mr. McFoy.
as long as there's,
Mike.
as.
Mr. McVoy, can you speak into your mic?
Hey, Mr. McFoy, would you speak into your mic, please?
I will talk to Mr. McVoy and see if we can't arrange that.
I
Um,
appreciate
Thank you.
As long as what the mayor mentioned, that there are some absences that are,
Yes.
if you're in the hospital or,
Having a
family
baby.
emergency, or, there are a small number of things that might be very legitimate. And that shouldn't be penalized, I don't think.
No, we're asking
I
for
believe that
consensus.
Miss-
I wanted to add.
I think Miss May wants to speak again.
I just wanted to add to to what Mr. McVoy was saying. So they have the ability to be absent, I believe, twice.
25%. 20% of the time.
That was 3 times in a 12-month period.
Okay, so it depends on the board. So let's say you have 2 or 3 freebie absences. If you're in the hospital, that counts as 1. So I don't know that excused or inexcused matters when you already have the ability to be absent. Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
we might want to revisit that.
If it comes up, we could revisit, but
Yeah.
as far as a general thing, if there's no quorum but nobody gets marked absent, that just seems,
I mean, I understand the logic. Well, there wasn't a meeting, so there wasn't, you're not absent to a meeting that didn't happen. But if you're the reason that
right, like if we all
Yeah,
showed up,
I
but
agree.
if we were all supposed to be here, but only 2 of us showed up, the 3 that didn't come should be marked absent.
or at least no candy for them or something.
But what if they're in the hospital?
Well, that's
Right.
fine, but then that's
So-
one of their absences.
Yeah, that part I don't agree with.
I don't
but-
agree with that. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I mean, sometimes things come, there are people that have, I'm aware of the fact that there are people that chronically just don't show up. If they meet their 20%, they should be off.
Well, didn't want to rewrite the whole policy, but just clarifying the one particular section and the question was, if you're the reason a meeting gets canceled because you can't be there, that should count as one of your absences.
Yes, you have consensus.
I would think, I would agree, but I also think that there should be.
Right,
Yeah.
as long as it's not that the reason you're not there is, an unavoidable.
That would be a different policy change, but
But I mean, some.
I didn't want to discuss that.
I think if you plan a vacation when there's a meeting, that's an absence, right? That kind of stuff.
Can we
That-
just get consensus? 'Cause I really don't want to have this whole conversation tonight about this.
Correct. Yeah, no, I just wanted to, on the one piece,
Every board is different. Some are 20%, some are depending on, there's.
okay.
I think in
So-
concept, we agree with you. But I think Mr. McBoy and I want a little humanity in it. But
But we,
Cross that bridge when we come to it. Also, the other thing could be, if you have that many absences, you can appeal to the, I'm just saying, come to the commission and say, listen, I was in the hospital. What do you know? I was having a baby. Couldn't be there.
correct, there's a facility for that.
If there's a remedy for them to appeal.
Before you move on, Commissioner Segrich, I just wanted to clarify that that was 5-0 and everybody conceded,
Yes.
offered consensus. Okay, thank you.
What? Oh, yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. I mean, Wade, brought in that we need stuff to attract children, and we need maybe like an arcade or something in our downtown. We actually had a business looking to come in to bring in a pinball museum into our downtown, and it was
Museum.
the pinball museum concept like they have in Delray. Well, the people who were involved in that wanted to bring that same exact concept to our downtown, and it was denied. And so
Denied by
zoning.
In the Willie's? Willie's.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it wasn't tonight.
It was severely kind of cut back. Yeah. Regardless of the particulars, because of SB 180, our hands are tied in restricting bad things, but they're not tied in allowing good things. And I think we should kind of think about some of the things that don't show up in our zoning that we might want to see in our downtown. Because remember, our zoning is inclusionary, meaning if it's
ain't in there.
if it's not listed, you're not getting it. And so there were a lot of things like this that unintentionally got restricted because they're being defined as a gaming hall, the same as you would a pool hall or a slot machine complex or like a pull tab complex. So anyway, not asking for a consensus or anything, but I do think we should think about some of these things and start bringing them forward.
Like axe throwing and smash rooms?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, another good one was somebody wanted to bring in a dog bar, where you bring your dogs and everything else like that. That was also denied. Yeah. I think it was where CWS was before Man Ray, a potential tenant. So, but in any event, well, they do goat yoga, puppy yoga. We spend a lot of time talking about what we want to prevent coming into our city. We don't spend, I think, enough time talking about what do we want to attract and what do we want to bring in. And I would just let's try to think about some of those things, and also encouraging the residents, send us ideas so that we can change and get that into the code to allow. And I thought it very interesting. A number of our neighbors are doing special overlay districts for that exact thing. So there's a nice article about Boynton Beach. Whether you agree about what they're doing and what their vision is, they put their vision in an overlay district, which is now attracting their vision. And I've said that for years in Lake Worth Beach. We got to attract what we want. We just can't hope that it's going to show up. We got to intentionally put it out there that these are things that we want. I did want to ask staff and the city manager to see if we can pay some more attention to the illegal food vendors. The number of complaints that I'm getting is ever rising. I went by 12th, and that entire parking lot is full. I even heard that even some up on Dixie by like the food mark Don Ramon or whatever. There's been a sharp increase. So I don't think PBSO is really paying a lot more attention to that. And I've gotten complaints from residents that they've called and no one's responded. So
We had one in our neighborhood the other day that was a food vendor cart, and he had it all lit up because it was dark outside.
Oh, wow.
So he was like a bright spaceship in the middle of the
he comes
alley.
through our neighborhood too.
I was like, you gotta be kidding.
Then Benny's had their 40th. They did 3 days of kind of celebrations and things like that. I actually met an employee who was there since 1986. She was there for all 40 years. And that's just incredible that we have a business running, that long in our city where somebody's been working there for 40 years serving our community. And it was great. The moment I got down there, I saw people from all areas of town and everybody, a lot more locals than you would normally see. So it was great to see that celebrated. And my last thing, actually has something to do with what Commissioner May had brought up about the sidewalks. For whatever reason, I got a number of complaints or inquiries because people got cited for site triangle. Yeah, no, it eventually worked out. And I had a great conversation with Jamie about that, as well as good conversations with the city manager and with William. And as it turns out, in our code, we measure from the property line. And you go back 10 feet or 20 feet, depending. Seems pretty straightforward. Unless you live in an area like I do, where I've got about 14 foot of city property, no sidewalk up on my grass. So I would be 34 feet. Go down 3 blocks, they'd be 28 feet. You go down 3 blocks more, they'll be 12 feet. And unless you have a survey out, you're not going to be able to figure out where, unless you find your survey marker, you're not going to be able to comply. Doubly to that, when we ask code compliance officers to explain to the property owner, where do I cut my hedge? It becomes a question that gets escalated up to the city manager's office because no one really knows. So in speaking with Jamie, he educated me on, the way that FDOT and from a roads perspective, we do it, and feel free to correct if I paraphrase it wrong. You measure from basically the corner of the asphalt, and it's based on true line of sight. I would like us to have staff to look into that under the guidance of Jamie and say, where from the corner of the asphalt do we have to be?
Make it all uniform.
Yeah. So it's just, so like on my corner, if it has to be, if it's 25 feet on a major road, great. From the corner of that asphalt, it's 25 feet. Whether I own 10 feet of that or the city owns 15, it doesn't matter. And I know technically people aren't supposed to be planning in the city right away owned properties that are attached to their property. But let's face it, it's been planted for 100 years in some cases, right? And we have trees and we have shrubs and everything. This, I think, would make everyone's lives easier and make this just so easy for us to explain to people. Because I tried to put together.
It'd be easier to enforce.
Oh yeah.
That's the key.
I tried to put together a little diagram and I sent it to William. He's like, yeah, no, that's only going to work for your
asphalt. You mean the street?
Yeah. So you have street, then potentially curb, or you have grass, and then you have potentially sidewalk, all of which doesn't matter from the line of sight. It's where that asphalt meets. You got to see along that edge of that asphalt for a certain distance. And, on small roads, I think it's like 14 feet. On major roads, it's like 25 or 30. Our calculations based on property line get there approximately, but inadvertently they cause a measurement nightmare where we just don't know. So I would be looking for consensus to direct staff to standardize it based on the asphalt corner, if that's what Jamie recommends, versus the property line.
I'm in.
And Commissioner, just to add real quick, when we spoke, it's based on traffic safety and approaching the intersection. So that's kind of how I look at it in a way I come at it just strictly from a traffic safety standpoint. That makes sense.
Which is why my light's on.
What?
Which is why my light's on.
Well, Mr. Serger, just
No, in regards to his conversation and what he's
okay,
saying.
now
So I love that we're talking about bushes and come to the other side of the city and you cannot see around all of the commercial trucks that are parked in the line of sight. I wish I had bushes to worry about. In my little Mini Cooper, if you have one corner that you're trying to cross and traffic's one way and you have something that's bigger than a regular pickup truck, you are going to get killed trying to cross the street.
tiptoe.
And they are literally up against the corner. Even they go past the stop sign. So that to me is much bigger safety issue than some bushes.
I-
I'm just being honest.
I,
No, I'm
I
not
agree.
saying this to you. I'm just saying that, I mean, if we're gonna be enforcing this, there are people who have nearly been killed in this city by trying to cross when there's 3 or 4 or 5 of these big, not landscape, even the big white box vans, the cargo vans. If there's 3 or 4 of those on a corner, you're gonna get squished like a grape. And because the people who own properties, who also own businesses, can have 3 or 4 of these trucks and park them on the right of way. And it's all over Tropical Ridge, Royal Point, Sienna, Whispering Palms. You literally cannot pull out without almost being killed. Not because of bushes, but because of commercial trucks.
On that note,
They can, but then they move them and then they come back and they repark them because we do not have the parking division to enforce it.
so on that note, I've been reporting a lot of that in my neighborhood, because we have had people almost killed based on the site triangle as well as the trucks. And the parking staff has been extraordinarily responsive to that. I snap a photo, I send it, and if there's somebody on, they're there right away. Carlos.
I think that we're
Or-
supposed
or-
to email to
Yeah, we don't send.
city manager. And the city manager
I
is supposed
CC
to,
them, but
because
But
I
you
mean,
go
I've
to
been here for
city
5 years. I've never been told that I could contact the parking.
it's the same as
super.
you email Public Works.
I don't do that. I email the city manager
Copy
and,
everybody else
or
that
when
needs
it
to be
was Mr. Brown, I send Shannon stuff for bulk pickup that's dumped. But as far as like the parking, and we were also told, I was told that we have to call PBSO if it's on the street, not the parking division.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a pile of garbage today. I wrote to Mr. Perry, I copied Tiana, I copied Jamie Brown. Well, this is something different. This is, you know,
Well, but so I had a long discussion with them, and it was in and about the distance from a intersection and from a stop sign and on both sides, and we went through and we looked at state and county statute, and there's a lot of good stuff in there, and then they were able to ticket based on that parking. Our parking staff ticketed.
Then why have we always been told that PBSO is the ones who have to enforce the streets? And now,
I guess I can claim ignorance as being the new kid here and stumbled upon a
Yeah.
happy
yeah,
mistake.
I mean, it's really protocol for us to, if there's a problem in the city.
I mean, I call PBSO on abandoned cars
Right.
that haven't been moved,
Right.
no tags, no plates, flat tires.
Sure.
I send that into an email or I send it into PBSO, but I've never, as far as I was always told, is if it's on the streets, it's PBSO, if it's on property, it's code and parking, correct?
That's usually how we do it, but we'll put something official that way we all be on the same page.
Yeah, that
Give
would,
it
that
the
would
But I
be
think we
good.
have to pay attention to the fact that really, if,
I would like us all to be on the same page.
no, I agree. But also, we should be on the same page about how, if you have a problem, you go to Mr. Perry.
I would disagree with that. If it's something that a citizen can report through that channel, I feel I should be able to report it through that channel. You'll never convince me otherwise. I can go online and
Elected official, it's a little bit different.
actually it's not, Mayor.
Well, I think it is,
I'm a
because
resident.
we
I'm a
have-
resident first,
we have
and
a
if
certain amount of, from my perspective, there's a certain implied, like, you know, we have a lot of people with code issues, and I refer them to code if I have a. Yolanda's probably the highest that I go, the lower that I go, but it's I did it a few years ago, and I was told, you know, please don't, because us calling. Yeah, us calling is a little more intimidating than a regular person, so that's.
that's not
What I have practiced, and I
If-
think
if-
it's more appropriate.
okay. But if there's a P-Works at Lakewood Beach, Florida.gov, where residents can submit street issues or report stuff like that, we can send stuff to that. For parking, if you can call the parking division and tell them that, hey, somebody's parked in front of my driveway or somebody's parked in front of a stop sign.
The city manager?
Yeah.
As long as you copy the city manager, it's not as bad.
And with all due respect, I understand your opinion on how you want to operate. I like
That's how I
getting
was instructed when I first was elected
I-
5.5 years ago. So-
by who?
Okay, we're gonna move this. No, I didn't, I Mr. Yeah, I was just Mr. McSee.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, it gets things done. So if you report
So
them,
this is the way we do it. Anyway, Mr. McCoy, do you have something to, some brief comment?
well, the two things I would like to make my, District 1. But in terms,
Your District 2.
well, District 2 then. I gotta talk to well, happy where I am. I hear the concern in relation to Commissioner Segrich's comments. I hear has been an issue in the past of how should commissioners communicate with staff. And I think we varied around a little bit is my experience. There's an argument for sending everything through the city manager. If I was the city manager, I would say, boy, that doesn't seem very efficient. Copying the city manager seems like a really good idea. And if there is some good reason to go directly to somebody else, then sure, send it to the city manager. But if it is an effective way, to report it to directly, I know that in the past, in years past, it's a while now, Jamie would come to neighborhood association meetings and say, hey, if you have a problem, and he was not the city manager at that point, he was public works, here's my cell phone, just give me a call. Because it works to get it done. I thought that was pretty reasonable. I thought it was generous of him to make it available.
Still in the business.
So I, in terms of policy, yes, keep the city manager informed, but if it works to get it to Carlos or whoever, I don't think we should get in the way of that. But, okay, do I get to say anything or not?
You had a chance and you went what? You
I believe that I visited the hospital on the way. So it's an excuse to have to.
Have a chance to go home. Yes.
just really quick before we got off, did we get consensus on the site triangle measurement?
Yes, the site triangle, base it on the physical site triangle thing, not on the property line. I didn't know that was something.
As we're sitting here, I'm getting blown up by a local realtor who lives on my street, who's giving me all the Florida statute because he's listening to the meeting, and he's like, the residents don't.
Why don't we? Okay, that's a report.
I will save it for my next meeting then.
All right. I want to be real quick. We had, thank you. There's a, on Labor Day weekend, there's going to be a mango festival downtown on J Street that Pomona, I believe, is sponsoring, and that sounds like a lot of fun. If you didn't get a chance to see In the Heights at the theater, sorry you blew it, because it was the most amazing show. I saw it the other night with a bunch of elected ladies, and we're going back on Sunday. We had board Sunday's last day, it sold out. Yeah, they sometimes have an odd seat, but it was remarkable. And it was young kids, and that was the great thing. It was like a whole bunch of young kids, and it was just the energy and the production itself was terrific. We had a board meeting of the Palm Beach County League of Cities, and we're working in sort of an organized faction to address the property tax bill, because everyone's freaking out about it a lot. And animal care and control is coming down. They're coming down much harder on fines for animal mistreatment, animal abuse. They're coming. I'll share it with all of you. I have a piece of paper, and it was great. We had our luncheon last week for the Palm Beach County League. Sarah and I were given a home rule hero, and we don't know why Mimi wasn't. So I agree with Ms. I have two friends in nursing homes, and the majority of the people that work there are Haitian, and they are caretakers, and they are hardworking, and I can't see anybody else coming to take care of my 85-year-old friend with dementia. So I'm meeting with the Guatemalan consulate very soon. That's all I'm gonna have. Mr. Perry.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I have two issues. Just a reminder, the clerk is requesting permission to advertise a 5 p.m. special meeting for the interviews for the Planning and Zoning Board on August 25th.
I won't be here.
I believe she mentioned that last week.
Yeah, I won't be here. I'll
Won't be here.
But I mean, but have what?
Planning and Zoning Board interviews for additional members on August 25th, starting at 5 p.m. special meeting. Is it okay, or do we have a majority, or?
You're not here.
I'll be in Vermont.
Good idea.
Because we should probably put it, I think,
Can you
I think Shauna probably put this, so it's fine.
I won't be here.
So that's two down.
Oh, we got 2 down.
We can try to, if need, I can come back with
Sounds
another
like we
date.
need help.
Wait, let
Come
me,
back with a second
Different date.
oh no, wait. August 24th.
August 25th.
That's Tuesday.
Yes, it is a regular meeting day.
All right, I should be here. I was looking at July.
Okay, so we have 4, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
we'll be here.
that's
Okay,
fine.
so thank you.
I trust you all, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I can see if there's connection where I'm gonna be, but I'm gonna be in the country.
Okay, one more thing. I believe this was brought up at the agenda review as well for the 9/11 program. Whether or not it was okay to have the agenda workshop on 9/10, day before. So we can sponsor some type of event on 9/11 that morning.
I think that's when only you and I were left, Chris, remember? And we were like, maybe we should ask everybody else too. Instead of on 9/11, there's gonna be a thing,
9/11
a program.
Try to put together a program on 9/11.
So
But if we,
They're doing it.
no, this is,
No, the 10th is the
Oh.
budget. Is the budget meeting.
Right,
But
we're
that's
talking about 9 a.m. to have
agenda
the
meeting.
agenda meeting instead of the next day.
Correct.
Correct.
I can do that.
okay,
Yeah.
consensus, so
Consensus.
Can you do that?
Consent.
I won't, yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
All right,
All right, so
and
I'm
we'll
up for
send it
all
out and
in.
make sure it's on your calendar, so.
Yeah.
And that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And when is that 9/11? What time is that gonna be?
I believe it's gonna start like 8 o'clock,
In the morning?
because maybe 8 o'clock or 8:30. Remember the first tower hit around 8:46 that morning?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
gonna be
but there
around that
was
time.
also
we'll
some
start.
discussion of 10.
10,
something
there's a
or other.
10.
Just saying.
Oh, I also want to mention the Citizens Institute is
Correct.
starting up and I think so far there's pretty good sign up for it.
Correct.
Mr. Attorney.
The property tax constitutional amendment that is obviously we need to heat up lots of areas, lots of discussions where you probably all saw a story recently where some service councils in the county predict that there'll be less summer camps for children. Because don't pay property taxes. Martin County just announced they probably lay up 119 firefighters. So you're starting to see a lot more public information. I know the legislature has somewhat restricted what cities and governments can do, but there's no restriction. And I've certainly been asked to speak to lots of groups about what can they do, whether it's vendors, customers, so I don't know if you're seeing that, but already starting to see a lot of organized opposition that people saying, not to vote against that amendment 3.
One of the legislators, I forget, I read the paper, said it's not the business of a city to provide summer camp for kids.
Right, I said that.
Yeah.
As well.
Well, this is the whole thing. When we had the conference 2 years ago and the guy from Doge came and he was, it's not wasteful spending. Their focus is on wrong spending, judging what we spend our money on. Camps, you can cut them out. Libraries, who needs them these days? Who needs to read? So that's all you have? And it's wonderful news about the appeal in favor of the city. Big news.
I should mention it, right?
Thank you.
So, we've been in litigation with Mr. Beer for decades, literally, for a short time as a police officer. And, we had that lawsuit a couple of years ago arguing about whether the city was obligated to provide anything more than the basic health insurance, which was what we agreed to in the settlement agreement with him about a previous litigation. And the jury found somehow the $7.1 million verdict with interest is almost 10 million nowadays. And thankfully, the Fourth District Court of Appeals has overruled that. They have entered a 17-page order finding that the settlement agreement was unambiguous, which the parties had agreed that it was unambiguous, and that the trial court should have ruled on that and not sent that to the jury. That's the essence of it. A jury is supposed to decide facts. The judge is supposed to decide law and legal arguments, and the judge in that case did not. So the Fourth District took a step further, not just directing the trial judge to say, you go back and you decide the issue. They decided the issue. They said, no, we've interpreted this contract. We've read this contract. And,
It's amazing.
you know, the city has complied, because to this day, we still provide Mr. Vieira and his family with the agreed upon health insurance.
Right.
But that's all we're supposed to provide. So I would anticipate that they will continue to try and appeal that. I don't think there's much chance that they're going to,
To the Supreme Court.
right, to get the Florida Supreme Court to look at this. So it'll probably be another 4 to 6 months till it is done, because they will exhaust, and I would if I was in their shoes too, exhaust every possible appellate remedy. But at some point in the next few months, there should be a very official, hopefully, ending to this saga.
Well, I have a trial in front of that very same judge on August 6th. I can hardly wait.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
By Mr. McCoy, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.